Hello and welcome to today's video lab report. In this lab, we made an experiment with different types of alcohols and carboxylic acids to produce esters, which have a very distinct fragrance depending on which chemicals you use on the mixture. With this experiment, we want to find out what smells do alcohol-acid mixtures produce. And so we mix different types of alcohols like methanol, pentanol, and octanol with different type of acids like acetic acid, salicylic acid, etc., etc. Our hypothesis is that if we mix these different types of alcohols with these different types of carboxylic acids, then we will get different smells out of them. Our independent variables for this experiment are the amount of chemicals added in the mixture, the type of chemicals added in the mixture, the temperature at which they are heated, and the amount of time that the mixture is heated. And the dependent variable of all of these variables is the smell produced by the mixture. The materials that we used were a hot plate, 3 test tubes, a test tube rack, a thermometer, a 250 milliliter beaker, a 500 milliliter beaker, and for the chemicals we used methanol, pentanol, octanol, salicylic acid, concentrated sulfuric acid solution, acetic acid, and distilled water, as you can see all in the picture. And so we started with the procedure. The first thing we did was put 150 milliliters of water in a beaker and heat it to 70 degrees Celsius. Then we poured 2 milliliters of methanol and 0.7 grams of salicylic acid in the test tube and added 5 to 8 drops of concentrated sulfuric acid. We placed that test tube in a hot water bath and let it rest for a 10-minute period. After that, we cooled the test tube by placing it inside another beaker, which contained 150 milliliters of cold water, and we added 5 milliliters of distilled water into that test tube. We observed that with this mixture of methanol and salicylic acid, we got a sort of like coffee-ish smell, and it also smelled like fish at some point, and after a while it stopped smelling and it turned into like a sweeter fragrance, but almost very faint sweet fragrance. Then we proceeded with the second part of the procedure, in which we put 1 milliliter of acetic acid in another test tube and added 2 milliliters of 1-octanol and 4 drops of concentrated H2SO4. We placed the test tube in a hot water bath and we also let it rest for 10 minutes. And after a while, we perceived a smell sort of like detergent. Very clean, very clinical. The mixture didn't present any color changes. Afterwards, we repeated this procedure with 2 milliliters of 1-pentanol, 1 milliliter of acetic acid, and 4 drops of concentrated H2SO4. We heated it up like before, and this time we perceived a smell like bubblegum. Finally, we concluded in that mixtures done with acetic acid turned out to be a lot more sweeter than those with salicylic acid. We also observed that with time, the smell of the mixture made with salicylic acid changed into a sweeter, fainter smell. And that was the end of our experiment. Up above, you can see a table with all the results from all the mixtures that we did and all the smells that they produced. Thank you very much for watching. It was a pleasure making this video and I hope you enjoyed it. Goodbye.